Thursday, September 28th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight on our new periodic segment, Throwaway Thursdays, we talk about how to survive the zombie apocalypse with part 1 out of 1,000, how to gather zombie intelligence.
Let's do this. So on the way home from work today, I listened to 1.5 extremely profound podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. The first one I listened to was Boing Boing's Get Illuminated. Now, you might know Boing Boing the blog. We've linked to it for things of the day and stuff.
It's a directory of wonderful things.
It's a very important blog that pretty much everyone in the world should pay attention to.
Yeah, I don't read it, but the best way I've found to follow Boing Boing is to wait for someone like Scott to link you to it periodically.
No, everything on Boing Boing is gold, but they just recently started podcasting. One of their podcasts is called Boing Boing Boing, which is just all the Boing Boing bloggers talking about the stories on Boing Boing. It's an okay podcast, but they have another one called Get Illuminated, which they only put out one episode of so far, where they interview like amazing people who can illuminate.
Well, who did they interview?
They interviewed my man, Doug Rushkoff, who is basically a genius. It's really hard to describe what this guy does, but he writes books. He writes comic books. He teaches at NYU.
Scott is filled with man love over Douglas Rushkoff.
Not really. But
No. It is entirely heterosexual and based solely in logic and reason.
It's sort of like the way, it's like, I wish I was
Scott,
smart as that
guy.
guy.
You have an intellectual hard-on for Douglas Rushkoff.
Perhaps.
The same way that I have a creative hard-on for Neil Gaiman.
I guess, yeah, something like that. He also, he did 2 Nightline, is it Nightline? The PBS documentary things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. One of them was The Persuaders, and one of them was The Merchants of Cool. He's basically an expert on new media, studies, culture, everything awesome.
Uh-huh. That's quite a description, Scott.
That just shows you how much smarter he is than I am. So I urge you that if you have 35 minutes in your life, download Boing Boing's Get Illuminated episode 1 and listen to it. And you should be thoroughly enlightened by, the musings of a man from New York.
Or you'll be like the Flatlander in Flatland trying to deal with that sphere.
Yes. The other podcast I listen to is Floss Weekly. Now, Floss Weekly is free, libre, open source software weekly, and it's not really that weekly. It's actually skipped a lot of weeks, but they interview very important people in the open source software community, like the guy who invented Python and the Slashdot guys and people from Google and all kinds of stuff. But in the most recent one, which I only listened to half of, it's an hour long, episode 13, they interview Eben Moglen, who is basically the open source lawyer. The guy. Like, he works with the EFF to write GPL3.
Definite article lawyer.
Yes. I mean, this guy worked with, Thurgood Marshall and stuff. He's serious lawyer, like professor at law school, professor of law history. Crazy. His resume is just insane. And where he works is this law firm, and the purpose of this firm, it's supported by all the big, players, IBM, Google, HP, everyone. And what he does is if you're an open source software person, their firm will provide you with advice and help to make sure you don't get into trouble license-wise and copyright-wise and patent-wise and all that jazz.
Granted, for most people, if you just take the GPL and use it, you're fine.
Yes, but if you listen to this, you take our episode on Monday where we talked about open source licenses, forget the episode we made about open source licenses. Just listen to Floss Weekly episode 13, and that's at twit.tv/FLOSS.
Well, while we're at it, on my way home, I listened to Dave and Joel's Fast Karate for the Gentleman again.
Okay, which episode did you listen to this time?
I'm not going to get into specific episodes here, but Dave and Joel's Fast Karate for the Gentleman is indeed Fast Karate for a Gentleman.
We are very into the gentlemanly things, a lot like Wondermark.com, very gentlemanly.
I gotta say, the thing I realized what it is about Fast Karate for the Gentleman that's really, I listened to it a lot lately. One, I kind of got burnt out on Penn Jillette, so I've been kind of holding off.
I've
on
also
him.
been slightly burned out on Penn Jillette.
I really only listen to Penn now when he's got an interview or a topic I really care about.
Yeah,
I mean, the Phyllis Diller thing was good, but Dave and Joel have this. The humor they use and the way they talk is very infectious. And if you listen, like if I listen to them and then I try to do the show, I'll end up talking like them. I think that's why Daryl kept stealing their bits.
It might be. It's, we talked about this before, I think, on the show about how if you hang around someone who has some sort of shtick, the shtick rubs off on you. Like, oh, mans. Oh, mans. So, yeah, Dave and Joel, they're all about shtick.
But we got some news, since that was basically the equivalent of us playing a promo.
Wow, we do have news. All right, so.
Not that it matters.
Pokemon Diamond and Pearl were released today in Japan. The new Pokemon games for the DS. Now, these aren't like, they're new Pokemon games all the time. Like Pokemon Racing or whatever the hell they make. I don't know. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. This is a real Pokemon game. And basically what happened was they put out 1 million copies of Diamond and 1 million copies of Pearl, and they're all gone. They also put out a special edition Pokemon Pearl, Diamond Pearl DS Lite. And they sold 500,000 of those today. And they put out 1 million of those. So there are 500,000, Pokemon DS Lites out there to still buy. But
now think about that. 500,000.
Yep.
500,000. How many, not to rip on Sony, but how many PlayStation 3s are there going to be? Total?
Yeah. No, but... the thing is, I got to tell everyone, a lot of people go, oh, Pokemon, whatever. They don't care.
One, Pokemon games, whether you like it or not, ushered in a new era of gaming.
Well, I guess. But
not in terms of gaming itself, but in terms of culture around gaming.
Specifically the portable gaming, the culture,
The culture of Pokemon kids has a lot to do with why certain kinds of games get made today.
That is true. Another thing is, Pokemon, the TV show, the anime, crap, whatever.
The manga, awesome.
Well, the original Pokemon Adventures manga is actually really awesome.
With red and yellow.
Yes, the original Pokemon games, the main line of Pokemon games, Pokemon Red, Blue, Gold, Silver.
Yeah, the main line, the habit.
The RPG Pokemon games, of which Diamond and Pearl are the latest. Right? Those are actually good games, and they're based, they were originally based on that Pokemon Adventures manga, which is also good.
I think, Scott, that you missed my joke about mainline, because it's like a drug, all addictive.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get it.
Pokemon is like mainlining. It's the main line.
I don't know what
mainlining is slang for doing intravenous drugs.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
So that shows you how much of a druggie I am.
Good game.
I didn't know what mainlining is, but now I know. The more you know. Yeah, I learned basically everything about Pokemon over, I read the Wikipedia, and I realized I played Pokemon Red, and I played Pokemon Silver. And since then, the only Pokemon games to come out were, like these, gem whatever ones, I forget what they're called. But if I play that, and then I get either Diamond or Pearl, I'm all caught up. I only really need to play 2 Pokemon games to catch up.
Now, I, meanwhile, have never played a Pokemon game ever, not even in passing.
I'll lend you my copy of Pokemon Red. You can play it in your GBA.
I don't want to bust the GBA out with its lack of a backlight.
The SP that's downstairs.
Oh, you mean Pete's SP that he keeps leaving at our house that is effectively ours?
Yep, that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll put it right with Scott Johnson's DVD player.
You mean our DVD player?
That's right.
Yep.
But no, I never played any Pokemon games. I didn't even realize there were Pokemon games back then.
Yeah, it's basically, it's an RPG with leveling, so it's kind of eh. But really, the leveling doesn't matter at all. If you use attacks with the right element, it's all fun and games. And, it's mostly exploring this map and talking to people and, figuring out, how do I get through certain areas and, what trick do I have to do to get this Pokemon to come out of its hiding hole and all that kind of stuff.
Don't forget trying to get the ultra rare uber whatever Pokemon.
No, that's not really necessary. I used to play, the first time I played Pokemon, I did catch them all. And then in the second Pokemon, the silver one, there were 250 Pokemon instead of 150. And I caught, I brought my original 150 over, but there was still, 100 more to get. I didn't care about it. I just caught whatever I felt like, and I used the Pokemon I cared about. Screw all those other Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really the way, if you want to have fun playing Pokemon, if you try to catch them all, it's not really that fun. Because now in Pokemon Diamond, they're like 500 some odd Pokemon.
You can't catch 500 Pokemon.
No, you can't catch 500 Pokemon. Snorlax.
Porlax.
Yeah. So, really all you do is you figure out which Pokemon you like. You like the way they look, you like the way they fight, and you use those.
Honestly,
and you treat them like your babies. And then
I only really know the original Pokemon, and I only really like Squirtle.
I like Dragonite.
Squirtle and Bulbasaur are my men.
Dragonite. I like Dragonite, and I like what's the other one I like? Oh, the one that Oddish. I like Oddish.
I kind of like Togepi.
I don't know what that is. And what's the other one? I forget which ones I like. I like a few Pokemon.
It's all about Squirtle and Bulbasaur.
Oh, the guy with the swirly mouth. Whatever his name is.
Though, little known fact, the voice actress who did the voices of many Pokemon, including, if I recall correctly, Bulbasaur, was none other in Japan than Megumi Hayashibara, one of the most highly paid voice actresses ever.
It seems like they give her a lot of parts doing like these little tiny noises for like 1 second in shows.
I don't know if it's because she liked doing it or if it was just a gimmick or whatever, but it's funny.
It is. It's great. I'd like if I interviewed her, that's what I would ask her. It's the only question I really need to ask her is, why do you do these parts in shows doing like little animal voices? Maybe she's just very good at it, and everyone else sucks in Japan. I don't know.
She is really good at it.
I guess.
Though she is, one of the most sought after voice actors. Was. I don't think she's been in any anime recently.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. I think she's sort of like washed up and retired. And
yeah, well, she was super big when we first got into anime, and then it kind of shifted, and then Ayumi was really big. And, well, Ayumi's always been big.
Well, Megumi wasn't exactly the same. She was a voice actor, while Ayumi is a pop star.
Well,
Ayumi is like Madonna.
Scott, Megumi was a pop star.
Not like Madonna level.
Megumi was one of the big pop stars.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, all right. Now, this was actually Scott's news, and I stole it and pushed another news off because he really wanted to talk about it. We didn't want to wait till Monday. And I don't know if you'll care or not, but the final patents on the GIF image, GIF.
Well, GIF.
No.
Technically.
No, because according to several studies, about 70% of people in the world say GIF.
That's correct.
And the vast majority of human beings in America say GIF.
Yes, but somehow on the official website, the guy who made GIF says it must be pronounced GIF.
Yeah, now...
and everyone denies him.
Now, one of the reasons is that GIF sounds kind of dumb.
Yup, it's the name of a peanut butter brand.
Also, the fact that it's an acronym for graphics interchange format, something like that. GA. It's a plosive G.
Yeah, it's not
graphics,
graphics, it's graphics.
Yeah, it's not giraffes.
Yep, that's right.
And of course, last but not least, the people responsible for GIF are in many ways a lot like the GNU free people. And in fact, I found a distinct correlation between people who say GIF and people who are all GNU. So I guess we should start saying GNU.
Yeah, no.
But anyway... I'm sure many of you are actually too young to remember this story or just didn't care enough about the internet. But GIFs were a big deal in the early days of the internet.
They were a huge deal.
Now, it was done by CompuServe, but this company called Unisys did a thing that was covered by a patent that GIF also used. And then IBM and a bunch of other people also had patents, and they all covered this thing that pretty much everyone was using for free before all these companies started suing everybody.
Yeah, there was an image file format named GIF, and everyone was using it, but a lot of the technology in that file format was patented by various other companies.
Now, Unisys was generally rat bastardly about it, but then, they played nice a little while, and then they started being really, really, really mean right before the year 2000. And to make a long story short, all the patents but one have expired. And now, at the beginning of October, coming up real soon,
October 1st,
the last patent covering GIF will expire. At that point, GIF and everything involved in GIF are 100% free public domain to the world forever.
Hooray.
It's such a rare thing that something like this happens in our day and age, where something is actually
because
free.
Patents don't last 1,000 years. They last a reasonable amount of time.
The thing is, the patent for GIF lasted almost through and beyond the useful life of GIF.
Yeah.
GIF isn't useful anymore except for animated GIFs on 4chan.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it does still have its uses to make, very light websites that, can have a lot of bandwidth traffic because they are smaller than pings and JPEGs and anything else you're going to use. But at the same time, if you use a ping, it's not going to hurt you that badly. I mean, come on. What are you worried about?
Well, alpha, which doesn't work so well in a lot of things.
Yeah, but that's going to be fixed soon.
Not that GIF has alpha in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the realm of JPEG and ping and whatnot. But
yeah, GIF is free.
Oh no,
so
GIF does have alpha. These transparent GIFs.
Oh yeah, but it's not the same kind of thing that you can do in ping.
It's only because you shrink the palette in GIF. But
GIF is pretty old.
It is pretty old.
I mean, the only real news here is that GIF is free. It is absolutely free. If you'd ever wondered what came of all that stuff, because a lot of GNU people...
I think a lot of people didn't even know there was trouble concerning GIF. They just thought a GIF was a different kind of file format.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was because we grew up in a very specific and important era of the internet where all these things happened and they were big deals. I mean, there were GIF versus JPEG wars while we were making websites on GeoCities back in the day.
Yeah, and nowadays...
no one even knows or cares. People use whatever.
Yeah, but those days are finally over.
Yeah, there's no more trouble with using GIF.
Yep, and you will now see there's a lot of software out there. A lot of people wouldn't use GIF, for one reason or another for the patent thing. But now everyone's going to use it without any qualms, and it should make life a little bit easier.
Yep. In fact, there are a whole bunch of open source programs. I think GhostScript is one of them, where they were actually waiting, and starting October 1st, they're going to release versions that support GIF. They waited this long.
Wow.
Things of the day.
Which day?
Today.
Today?
Today.
Not to...
I don't know where you're going with this, but I don't see a funny joke coming anywhere.
3 day?
There is no joke on the horizon here at all.
4 day?
You're just going to keep going with this. I'll just turn off your microphone.
1 day. All right. My thing of the day, you may not know this. In fact, I didn't really know this, but there were airships.
Yeah, there were lots of them.
Yeah, I knew that we had Zeppelins, but I didn't know we had airships, real airships, dirigibles, if you will.
Did you ever see Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade?
Yeah, that was like a blimp, but it didn't...
It didn't what?
Didn't have airplanes on it.
It had one airplane on it.
One. It didn't have a whole bunch of them on it. Anyway.
Yeah. So I believe your thing of the day is the USS Macon?
Yes. See, in 1935, there was this USS Macon. It was an airship, a 785-foot airship.
Now, think about that for a minute. That is almost Last Exile in proportion.
Yeah, there's a picture of it. You can go look at it. And it had a hangar bay with 4 Sparrowhawk biplanes. This is a big airship with planes in it. And it fell into the sea.
See, I've always been a huge fan of airships and air pirates, but more importantly, in the modern world, I'm a huge fan of a lot of people who've been trying to bring back airships for intercontinental shipping.
Yeah, you could pick up a warehouse with one of these things and fly it over the ocean real cheaply.
Yeah, I mean, imagine instead of sending, load stuff onto a boat, send the boat over, load the stuff onto trucks, send it over to the warehouse. You could just pick up the warehouse full of stuff from the factory, take it to wherever your distribution center was, put it down, pick up another warehouse, and take it back.
Yep.
Unfortunately,
would be, pretty cool.
The primary argument I've seen against using airships in the modern world is nothing other than, what if terrorists shoot it down? OMG.
They're not easy to shoot down.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
You have to shoot it you couldn't shoot it with a gun. You shoot it with a rocket or something.
They're big and slow. It wouldn't be hard to shoot one down.
Yeah, you couldn't, if you shot it with a gun, it would go ding. You'd have to shoot it with something better than that.
Like certain sniper rifles. I think a Barrett could take one out.
Maybe, but what's it going to do? Go tss.
It'll do a little more than that. It won't catch on fire like the Hindenburg.
No, it won't. That was because that one was poorly made. But
well, yeah, to dispel a common myth, the Hindenburg did not burn because of what was in it. The Hindenburg burned because people didn't understand chemistry so well, and they painted the outside of the Hindenburg with what was effectively rocket fuel.
Yeah, basically. That's what happened. You know, the hydrogen would just gone poof. It wouldn't have started burning like that.
Yep.
Anyway, this particular airship fell into the sea and was lost. Recently, they found it. Some fisherman, a commercial fisherman, caught a piece of it in his net. It was some girder. And he showed it off at the local seafood restaurant. And thus people went, where'd you get that from? And lo and behold, there's the airship and all sorts of other goodies under the sea that are fun to look at. You know, and it's especially fun to look at because it's a fucking airship. So check out this thing of the day. Look at the pictures of the sunken airship. Sunken airship. Isn't that kind of funny?
Well, you know.
It is a ship in the air, but it's sunk in the water as opposed to, like, you know, floating out into space.
Well, first it sunk to the ground, and then it kept sinking.
Yeah. But anyway.
What can I say? I like airships.
Yeah. It's pretty damn cool, let me say that.
So my thing of the day, I realized recently when I was talking about him that many of my friends have not actually seen his stand-up or didn't know that he was anything other than Mr. Bean.
I got Mr. Bean stories. He used to call me Mr. Bean in high school. At least a few people did.
You kind of look like Mr. Bean.
A little bit.
You looked like,
I guess.
You looked a lot more like him when we were freshmen.
Yeah?
Yeah, you did.
All right. Well, that was real close to high school.
I mean, not so much in your physical appearance, but in your mannerisms and the way you walked around and moved your head around and looked at things and shifted your eyes.
Uh-huh.
You had a Mr. Beanish manner.
Alrighty then.
There's a trait in Burning Wheel. But anyway, Rowan Atkinson, the man who did Mr. Bean, while Mr. Bean is often hilarious, I would say that it is probably near the bottom of the funny things he has done. I mean, the least funny thing Rowan Atkinson ever did was the Mr. Bean movie, which is probably the second worst movie ever made.
I don't know what movie. There's a Mr. Bean movie?
It was called Mr. Bean.
Okay. Maybe y'all should see it sometime.
I would watch MD Geist like 8 or 9 times before I'd watch that fucking Mr. Bean movie.
Well, because
again.
how could you not with, you know, a guy shooting a guy through the head and then using the same gun as a grappling hook? And then
I would even watch Clifford almost once before I'd watch Mr. Bean.
Okay.
Good God. But anyway, he's most well known for Mr. Bean, but he was also the Black Adder. He was in the Black Adder, which is an absolutely hilarious show. And he was himself Rowan Atkinson doing stand-up skit comedy. I've found on YouTube and Google Video a collection of many of the routine stand-up bits that he would do. And if you have never seen such things as Fatal Beating or Welcome to Hell, you've really missed out on one of the funniest comedians I can remember.
Yeah. I mean, the funniest stand-up comedian ever I had to say is Richard Pryor, but this stuff is also the hilarious.
I mean, Richard Pryor I put way up there.
The thing is, the only reason I put Richard Pryor at the top is because I've watched a lot of stand-up comedy in my day, right? But one day, randomly, at freshman year at RIT, I remember it specifically. Like, I knew who Richard Pryor was, whatever. But I was flipping through the channels, because actually that was the last time I had television.
Don't breathe no more.
Don't breathe no motherfucking more. No. And I came upon Richard Pryor doing stand-up comedy on the TV, randomly. And I was just uncontrollably laughing, like, from the time I switched to his channel to the time beyond the time when it was over. I just couldn't stop laughing harder and longer than anyone else.
See, I gotta say, though,
I think laughter is a good measure of the comedy.
Dana Carvey had a similar effect on me the first time I saw his HBO special.
Maybe.
Of course, by the 80th time, I wasn't laughing so much anymore.
Yeah.
Chopping broccoli.
Make
a time, make a toe, make a tea, make a two.
105 to you.
Yeah, but I mean, like George Carlin, Louis Black, I love them all.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of comedy in general, stand-up comedy, but yeah, awesome.
I still wish I'd try to describe this comedian's humor, because then maybe one of you would remember what his name was, but I can't really describe it. I'll just let it lie, but I'll let it be known that there was this comedian that I saw on Comedy Central 3 times, 3 different shows. Guy was utterly freaking hilarious, and to this day I have no idea who that was, and I've never seen him again.
Was he the guy that died, Hedberg?
No, it wasn't Hedberg. It wasn't Mitch Hedberg.
Okay.
No.
Because that would explain why you never saw him again.
No. It was this... I'm not going to get into it because I barely remember anything about the guy, and most of his jokes were more visual than they were...
All right, well, let's get into our main bit then.
Oh, the main bit that we've been avoiding because it's kind of a throwaway episode?
Yeah, the throw episode. Now, some of our listeners, particularly one unnamed listener, has has been pushing very hard for us to do an episode about what we're going to do an episode about right now.
In fact, at Otakon, during the Geeknights meet and greet, where we were hanging out with a bunch of our fans and having a grand old time, he asked us while we had our recorder out exactly the question that we were going to begin answering in part 1 of how to deal with the zombie apocalypse.
Well, I don't like the word apocalypse because then you're assuming that it's a zombie apocalypse. It's basically how to deal with any number of zombie happenings.
Yes, I mean, zombie apocalypse is one type of scenario. The problem is, zombie apocalypse, in the end, you're pretty much always fucked.
Yeah, because you're assuming there's an apocalypse, so it is the end of the world and you're done.
Yeah, that's pretty much the Dawn of the Dead scenario.
You can try to survive longer, perhaps, but the end result is the same if it is absolutely a zombie apocalypse.
Luckily, you can't know during it if it is a zombie apocalypse or not.
Or just a zombie outbreak.
As 88 Days Later showed us.
Yes. So,
yes.
The first thing you need to do when deciding how you're going to survive a zombie attack of some sort is get information about the zombie attack.
Yeah, now, before we go any further, I just want to say that this is not going to be a multi-part in the sense that we're going to do a series on zombies.
Oh, no.
But every time we need a Throwaway Thursday. I think it'll be, instead of Monkey Tuesday, it'll be Throwaway Thursday.
It's one of those geeky things that, geeky people talk about and discuss for fun when they're bored. And, that's what we're going to do. When we got nothing better to talk about, we'll just start talking about zombies.
So today, we're going to go over how to figure out what kind of zombie attack it is and how we would determine what we're going to do. But we can't talk about specifics because it really depends on the exact nature of the zombies that exist.
Yeah.
I mean,
what if there's a zombie outbreak in California and I'm in New York? Well, that gives me a lot of time, doesn't it?
Now, what if they're slow-moving zombies that don't turn you into a zombie unless you die? What if they're fast-moving zombies that turn you into a zombie if they so much as scratch you?
Yeah, what if Rim is the first zombie?
Yeah, what are they, lurching zombies? Are they strong zombies? Are they magic zombies? Are they science zombies? Are they disease zombies?
Everything hinges on these questions and their answers. I mean, it's changing the answer just slightly changes the whole strategy of how not to get killed and turn into a zombie.
Thus, today, we're mostly just going to talk about how to assess the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, I think first what we should do is we should take things that are assumed to be true in any zombie situation. That is, zombies are former humans of some sort. They were human, and now they are something else.
Yes. They may or may not have been dead.
They may or may not be dead. And they seek to turn other humans into zombies by some means.
Or they might not be able to turn you into a zombie at all. It might just be dead people.
It might just be.
I think the most common definition
but
of
that
zombie,
there is a danger of non-zombie humans becoming zombies.
Yes. Though there are some situations I could see where that wouldn't be the case. I mean, say a meteor went by and woke up all the dead people, but then the meteor crashed and that stopped happening.
Oh, so only the graveyards had zombies, and then there was a limited finite number of zombies, and all the living people were never zombies, and they're just living people.
Yep, so that is a possibility, however remote.
Yeah, that would count, yes.
Now, I guess, the way you could really distinguish the zombie attack here is that regardless of how they came about, zombies either are generally aggressive toward humans and or other living things, or zombies specifically are attempting to either kill people and turn them into zombies, or they just have a hunger for brains that can't be satisfied any other way.
Except the vegetarian zombies.
Don't go make that fucking joke.
Grains.
God,
Grains.
I hate you so much.
Grains. It's Thursday, leave me alone.
Throwaway Thursdays.
Throwaway Thursdays. All right. So
generally, what we'll assume in any zombie case is that they are humanoid beings that were once human that have become generally malevolent beings that have little intelligence and are attempting to harm, at the very least, humans.
Mm-hmm. Another thing you have to realize, though, I was thinking about the case you just brought up where all the dead people come back to life as zombies and that's it. There are more people alive now than have ever died. We would win that by...
You can't make a statement like that because we don't really know.
Yeah, we do.
No, we don't. That is a contention that is up to a great deal of debate. And also, what do you consider a human? What's the exact line? Just our species? What about hominids?
Yeah, if there are zombie elephants, we're definitely in trouble.
Zombie monkeys? A normal monkey could kill both of us. If this room, there were a monkey here in that blue chair, and that monkey wanted to kill us, unless it was a spider monkey, we'd both be dead.
Yeah.
And if it was a spider monkey, one of us would still be dead.
Or at least covered in shit and vomit and God knows what other kind of mess.
God, spider monkeys.
Yeah. So, how shall we begin? Shall we
All right.
propose a scenario and then...
Or just generally how to react. We could talk about that.
All right. So,
Let's say we don't know. Let's say we're sitting here doing Geek Nights right now, and our friend Scott Johnson calls the cell phone that's sitting next to me. The ringer's off, and I ignore it. He calls it 5 or 6 more times. So I think, and I pick the phone up. And Scott Johnson, being the stalwart defender against all things malevolent, because, your friend Scott Johnson is waiting for this day. He is the first line of defense. He is NORAD when it comes to zombies and vampires.
basically, yes.
If any of those come to exist, Scott Johnson will call the both of us first and tell us it begins, and then we'll do whatever we're doing. So I pick up the phone.
So the first thing you have to do is get someone in the world to be your NORAD.
Yes, we have Scott Johnson. You could have us, but now you're 1 degree away. You won't get warned right away. I am going to do things before I warn you about the zombies.
You can also be a NORAD. The problem with that is you need to spend every waking moment of your life in a constant vigil for zombie happenings.
Yes, now you could narrow it down. I mean, Scott Johnson is a evil magic or evil zombie NORAD. He's really broad. He's watching for vampires. He's watching for magic. He's watching for all of that. If you're just a zombie NORAD, it's real easy. Just watch the news. Just watch all the news, and the moment you hear about a disease anywhere that isn't explained, go to like DEFCON 2 and wait.
Yeah.
That's really it. All you can do is watch the news.
Unless the zombies are happening in your town.
Yeah, but even then, you just kind of be generally wary.
Yeah, make sure when you see someone walking down the street, if they're walking kind of slow, if they got their hands out in front of them, go check them out. Make sure, they're not zombified.
Yeah, because seriously...
think about it. It could be that they're just one zombie, and that's it.
However, Scott Johnson, the NORAD, the one thing that he's always impressed upon us in his knowledge of being a zombie NORAD is that if you ever come across a zombie or a vampire or anything like that, that immediately makes the odds that other similar things exist go from practically 0 to not 1, but an infinitely larger number.
Yep.
I mean, if you see one zombie... That's when you start grabbing crosses and see if they work on things, start digging up people that you might think are vampires and staking them.
So when you get, like, Necronomicons and start reading them.
Yep. You start trying to cast spells just in case.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't try to cast spells every day only because the odds are they won't work. If I run into a vampire, you can bet your ass I'm going to find every old skin-bound book I can get and read every word out loud.
I'll be sacrificing lambs and shit, trying to get some spell action going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, again, the first thing you have to do is have intelligence. That is probably the most important thing. The sooner you figure out what kinds of zombies these are and what kind of threat they pose, the better chance you have of surviving until the end and possibly winning.
Now, you might be able, if you're lucky, to get all this information from the news and the internet and your friends and such. Because someone else far away will figure it out and disseminate the information around the world.
However, if zombie movies are any indication, that's not going to fucking happen.
No,
if anything, you'll turn on the news and you'll see a reporter freaking out and then being killed by a zombie.
And then there won't be any useful radio, television, or anything. Even your ham, you're going to have to rely on your ham radio guys. And those guys are usually fat, so they won't be able to help you.
So thus, step 2, know at least one radio nerd. Every zombie movie worth its salt has the one guy who has the radio, and he's the one who makes contact with that one other guy out there.
Or if you're seriously worried about zombies, because I got to be honest, I'm not. Even though I'm prepared, I'm not worried about zombies because the chances of zombies are pretty much
yes. I mean,
0.
I'm ready for zombies. If I hear that zombies exist, instead of freaking out, because the normal human reaction is to freak out for like 5 minutes before you deal with it. I'm ready, so I won't freak out. I'll immediately enact Rim's zombie plans.
Yes, but if you are worried about it, I suggest becoming a ham radio hobbyist, getting your license and everything like that, because that'll help a lot more than many other things.
Yep. I mean, medicine's not going to work so well, especially if they're infecting zombies.
Yeah, you're basically your second skill that you're gonna want after ham radio skill is gun skill.
Now, all right, so here's the important question. You've got intelligence. You know zombies exist. What information do you need before you can figure out what to do? You need to know, very briefly, 1, what kinds of zombies they are. What creates them? Where do they come from? How can they be killed? And is there any, like, special thing, like a special secret thing, the plot point at the end of the movie, like, if you say wuzza, they explode, or they only last one night.
Yeah. The other thing, you have to know if they what threat do these zombies pose to you? They might be benign zombies. It could be. They just walk around aimlessly and do nothing, and then they die.
Yep, and also, where did they spawn? Did they all come from one place? Did they simultaneously appear all around the world?
Mm-hmm.
That is really key, because in the case of the former, everything's going to be okay. It's probably going to be like a really easy cakewalk of, either a disease or something, 88 something. You'll save yourself.
Yeah, if it was all in one place, then the National Guard or your country's military will surround that place and you'll have no problems.
Plus, it's probably a freak accident. It's probably either some disease got loose or some portal to a dark world opened or some necromancer fucked up.
Necromancer.
But if zombies are appearing all over the world simultaneously, you might have a Dawn of the Dead situation.
You might have a very bad situation because you basically can't run away anywhere. You need to hole up and survive for as long as possible, perhaps in some sort of biodome or farm or space shuttle.
So, I guess
boat.
In order of what you need to know, you start with where are the zombies right now. If they're in LA and you're in New York, you have a lot more time to plan. If they're down the street, you've got to act immediately. So figure that out before you do anything. And then right after that, figure out what kind of zombie that is. That is probably the biggest factor in your survival. You can break it into a whole bunch of elements. Are they fast zombies or slow zombies?
Yeah. Are they zombies that can turn you into a zombie? Or are they zombies that just kind of don't do anything?
If they're the former, do they do it by biting your neck, by killing you, by scratching you, by being near you?
Are the zombies strong or are they weak? Do they wander around aimlessly or do they smell your brains and come after them quickly?
Are they living or dead? If they're actually dead, then it's either going to be one of those headshot situations or destroy the head situations or, some magical solution situation.
Yeah.
If they're living,
how are the zombies destroyed? Can they be destroyed?
Because if they're living beings with a disease, you can fight them the way you would fight anyone on PCP. You just beat them to death.
Yeah. Can they jump? Can they climb? How can you slow them down? Will they be able to break through a barrier? Can you hold them off instead of killing them all?
Can they detect humans or not? And if so, how? What draws them? Are they attracted to light? Are they attracted to shopping malls?
Are they attracted to underground, train tracks?
If they see a human, do they become aggressive or they just attack anything in front of them? Do they attack non-humans?
Do they attack non-living things?
Do they attack each other?
Do they even attack or do they just go around aimlessly?
Do they just swipe if you're nearby?
Yeah.
And you also have to worry about a lot of tricky situations. I mean, fast or slow zombie, right? I mean, you've seen fast zombies. The zombie that runs at full tilt at you and then tears you apart.
Yep.
And then the slow shuffling brains. Shaun of the Dead.
Eat brains,
but zombie cannot swallow this injustice. But there's a really tricky situation you got to watch out for. And this has been a furious subject of debate among the front row crew. Lunging zombies are one of the most dangerous kinds of zombies because they give all the appearances of a slow zombie. They shuffle slowly and slowly. Brains. But then, when you're within, 8 feet, they suddenly lunge like as fast as lightning and get you. But you won't know that right away. It's real hard to figure out if it's a lunging zombie or not without letting someone die.
Now, the worst thing that can kill you, is if they're a mixed bag. If some zombies are fast and some are slow. If some are strong and some are weak. If some can get you with a scratch and some with a bite. Then you basically need to be prepared for all these different situations. If some get killed with a headshot and some get killed with a silver bullet, You're gonna need to get like silver shotgun shells. It's really gonna suck, and things just get worse when you have a mixed bag of zombies. So you better hope that there's just one kind of zombie. Oh, you better hope there's no kind, but one kind. Any more than one kind, you're in trouble.
So let's say, for the sake of argument, that the zombies are in your town. You don't know the situation in the rest of the world, but you know they're in your town. You can see them down the street.
All right. Step 1. Can you get to the grocery store without going through the zombies?
Well, I think...
Or the hardware store.
Yeah. Well, before you do anything, don't even worry about that. Get some binoculars or something and try to observe the zombies. Because hopefully some curious neighbors will wander out and see what's going on. And you can watch to see if they're lunging zombies or not, if they're fast or slow, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're slow zombies, and they're not lunging or anything, even if they're killing people, don't fucking worry about it.
Yeah.
Those kind of zombies, you could probably just close your door and go back to playing video games.
Maybe, but it also might be fun. See, here's the thing. You know, that's the safest thing to do. But you might want to go get in your car and run them over for fun. Whee! Especially if you have a nice big truck.
But then you got to figure out if they're slow. Like, let's say, all right, we observe them. We see that they're slow killing zombies. They are killing people. When they see humans, they go after them. Now we got to figure out if they're massing anywhere or not. Are they organized in any way? Because if it looks like they're massing, the answer is always get the fuck out of town.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're massing, that means you'll go to sleep, you'll wake up in the morning, now your house is surrounded by more zombies than you can kill. At that point, you're dead because you won't get enough food and you'll starve to death.
Yeah, I mean, you could, like, if there's a mass somewhere, but it's not near your house, you might be able to pull a trick like throwing a exploding propane tank, making a big gap in the zombies and then driving through it to escape or something like that. But you can't let them mass for too long or else it's too big for even a propane tank explosion.
Now, we don't want to go long on this, and there's also the fact that we did this episode mostly as a throwaway, but in the future, when we do more of these episodes, I think we can illustrate a fairly important point. There's actually a moral to all of these zombie episodes.
Wheel of morality. Turn.
The moral, and we talked today, about gathering the intelligence, and we'll probably talk next time we do this about weapons and that sort of thing.
The fun part.
Yeah. But in terms of this discussion, think of it this way. We are geeks. We also have no drama in our lives, and we very rarely have trouble because we usually plan ahead for just about everything, every possible contingency. Or at least we put ourselves in a situation where, while we haven't planned for a particular contingency, we are ready to deal with it regardless of whether or not we've prepared. And the key is simply to approach any problem in your life, no matter what that problem is, logically. If you wake up one day and you walk outside and there's a dragon just sleeping in the street, don't freak out and run around. Immediately just think, why is this dragon here? What might he want? Is he looking at me? Is he going to kill me? How can I deal with this situation in a productive, constructive, and possibly life-saving way?
Another thing you can look at it is a lot of people in this world completely lack basic problem-solving skills. They might know a lot of stuff and they might not be stupid, but, if their computer's broken or their car is broken, they can't apply basic logic and saying, oh, this is caused by that, which means the problem must be in this area and such and such and such.
Yeah, approach things logically. At least try to. If something bad happens, at least try to figure out why it happened, if there's a way you can avoid it in the future.
And trying to figure out how to survive various zombie scenarios is a great exercise of your problem-solving muscle and will help you in other areas of life in which you must solve problems.
You know what I love more than anything, and I think we'll end on this, being Throwaway Thursday?
Yeah.
We managed to turn a throwaway episode about killing fucking zombies into some sort of moral lesson.
Yeah, so we're going to have real episodes next week, and then next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is CitaCon.
Yes, in Utica,
not tomorrow,
New York.
A week from tomorrow.
Yeah, like we always said in the Anime Club, not this weekend, but next weekend.
October 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2006, CitaCon in Utica, New York. Come see us and many other awesome people.
We've talked about it all week. We've linked to it in the forums. We're going to talk about it more next week. This is going to be an awesome con. I suggest you go. If you live at RIT, I suggest you spread the word.
That's about it.
And if the zombies come, we'll be there waiting. And that was Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geek Nights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.